Good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Pflugerville.
Good morning.
That's in Texas. By the way, I've got on Wednesday, we do a course of love in the morning and the evening. And we've had people come in from Scotland. We've had people come in from Tennessee. We've had people come in from New Hampshire. I'm trying to remember. It's really, we've had some very interesting people show up. So we're trying to get on that. Isn't that neat? Unity Pflugerville. Okay? So we are here. The conversation today is you are the light of the world. This topic came up because last week we did a list, and I still have the list at home. I was going to bring it in, but not worry. We're going to worry about that later. But it's a list of things people like to hear about, what we'd like to talk about. And I happen to throw out luminosity. I was discussing the prevalent idea in the spiritual community that more and more people are becoming, you ready, luminous beings. And what does that mean? So if you look up the definition of luminous, it's something like bright, shining, light, emanation, uses radiation. It also talks about magnetic energy. So luminescence is the fact that we radiate energy. Everybody there? Now, let's call it spiritual energy. And the idea behind it is you as an individual radiate energy. And within you is the kingdom of heaven. Jesus has clearly said that. And it clearly says you are the light of the world. And please remember, 2,000 years ago, they did not have the educational idea that we do today. So if we say luminosity, if we say light, you know there's many, many different types of light. The light is a metaphor for energy. And they didn't understand that, but Jesus was using the words that they would understand, which meant everybody has light within them. Now the key here is how luminous can you be? And how much energy can you transmit from the Spirit within you? One of the things we're understanding now, at least in my interpretation, everybody get that? Mm-hmm. That our job here is to bring God through into this energy. Part of our purpose is to be God beings, because we are God beings. Jesus said, these things I do, you shall do and even greater things. And so if we believe that, he said, you're going to do these things. Okay? Which in a way sounds like blasphemy, but guess what? Jesus was called blasphemous, but he proved that he was a child of God. So he's also saying, you're a child of God, so how much energy can you transmit as a transmitter of God's energy? Now, the truth is, we are, all of us, believe it or not, all of us, even the ones that we don't like, we're all children of God. Because and really, it's amazing. Because in Genesis, it said God saw that everything was good and let the day go. I'm paraphrasing. So that means all of us are good at some level within our heart. The question is, how much good do we allow to come through us to other people? Okay? And so that's the idea of luminous. Now, would you agree that you like to be around certain people and other people automatically you stay away from? Have you ever watched young kids and they run and they skip? And you ever wonder why they're attracted to things that they are attracted to and why they stay away from other things? I love to watch them. Matter of fact, for a while, Madeline was doing things over Kalahari that I love sitting in the lobby and watching the families come through. And the kids, families walk through, mom and dad, but the kids, okay, they couldn't wait to climb on the elephants and all the other statues because their hearts were not affected by the world around us. And also, they stop and get interested in what's going on around them. Why? And what effect do you have on people around you? What kind of neighborhood do you live in? What kind of relationships do you have in your world? Okay, how many good, really, really good friends that you can interact with completely openly? I said completely openly. That means telling the truth. Okay, so it's a very, very interesting conversation. And that is, in my opinion, a mark of the luminosity that we are bringing into the world around us. Now, a lot of people are focused on what is my purpose in life. And I believe it's my interpretation to say that that purpose is to bring the God energy into this world to help the world work. Because it's the energy of love. You know, everywhere we go, and in all the ancient wisdom and histories, you know, you go through Buddhism, Hinduism, all of them. And some of them have been corrupted. However, in the beginning, they were all based on love, appreciation, no matter what religion you go to. Now, the energy of God is pure. It's called love. Everybody get it? The problem is, what is love and how do we define it? What do we get there? Now, there's been this ancient conversation that we are working toward, let's call it awakening, especially in our organizations, okay? So it's called enlightenment. Madeline doesn't like that word. The truth is, it's an awakening to who we really are. So the Bible and other groups, Buddha told us we are children of God. So as a child of God, what does that mean? And as a child of God, what kind of energies are available to us, and where do we go with it? Where are we going? And it's interesting. I keep going to the Bible because that's where we are a Christian organization based on the teachings of Jesus, not what our interpretations of Jesus are, but what he said. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Now, the energy is absolutely pure. It's God energy. So can anybody mess with it? No. However, what happens in the world here is either God is present in love or God is absent. And guess who makes that decision? We do. It's the human mind that distorts the energy. Okay? It's like the folks played this morning. They did well. Anybody agree? I love it. We're entering a whole new thing. Okay? Now, if I was sitting here, I was like Larry was quoting earlier, and I rang the gong. Guess what? The sound of that gong was discordant with what Larry was playing. It was called disharmony. So the frequencies did not mix. They came together in not a pleasant way. It came together in a discordant way. So everything's energy, correct?
Yeah.
This is yes, this is no.
Yeah.
Okay? So everything's energy. You are energy. The energy I am it decided at some point enough distortion, I'm going to let go of some of your hair, you had too much. Whatever it is, we redo it through our thinking, which is energy being created. And as the energies come through, our minds decide what we're going to work with and what we're not going to work with. So it's either in harmony, or it's discordant. Now, how do you do that? So Jesus said you are the light of the world, which means you have the capacity to bring the light of God through your being into the world around us. Now, has anybody, I forgot to look it up. Has anybody ever seen a picture of the R's?
Of the what?
The R's of the body. Okay? We know, and Heart Math Institute has measured out to 8 foot, okay, the amount of energy that you radiate. Yep. And then beyond that, they lose track of it because it's so fine. Okay, so if that's true, what are you radiating? And you see, it's up to us, because the energy coming in is pure. Absolutely pure. And creates only God's stuff. I'll say that again. And creates only God's stuff. So we're the ones that are here to transcend energy into the world around us. And how does it land out here? Okay, is it the way, is it pure? Is it harmony? Because it's like the Garden of Eden. You see, I believe the Garden of Eden is a metaphor for what's possible. Okay, and what we're designed to do. Okay, in the beginning, right? In the beginning. So when we were created, if you will, we were created as a pure transformer of God's energy here in the physical. So did you get it? Jesus came in and said, hey, here's who we are, here's what can be done, and here's what I'm saying you can do. So he was the model for us. And I'm going to go here. John, the book of John, is really one of the more mystical chapters of the book of the Bible. And in John 8:12. Now, this is when two things. This is the story of the woman who was accused of being adulterous, and the Pharisees had gotten around her, and they had decided to stone her to death, which was what an adulteress did. Everybody hear that? And Jesus was there, and Jesus said, let he who is without sin or error be the first to throw the stone. Okay, now, can you believe that he was emanating radiant energy? See, he created the truth. And they all quietly left. And when they left, Jesus said, is anybody else ready to do that? And he said, I judge not man. You just see, that's key. I judge not human beings. Because we've all gotten over here and forgotten who we are. So what we're doing, each of us, is creating the world as we believe is possible. And are we distorting it? I believe we are. However, then he was on, and the Pharisees show up again. Okay? You got to understand, they were I'll call them alligators. Alligators are those that chomp and try to pull you back. Okay? So, it says, again, Jesus spoke to them, the Pharisees. Okay, and we got to remember, they were trying to put him on a cross. So they were trying to get him for anything he said wrong. Okay? So he said, again, Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Okay? So he is saying, I am a human being with the light of God within me. Okay? Then he goes on and says, he who follows me shall not walk in darkness. Now remember, follows means learn from me. Follow my teachings. Do what I'm saying to do. Okay? There's no mystical stuff there. It isn't the mystical name of Jesus. It's none of that. It's just follow the teachings of Jesus. And what did he teach? Well, let's go on. Okay? So he said, and today we should say he, she, and they, and them. Did I miss anything? Oh, yeah. Yes, no, no. I gotta make sure I get all the pronouns in here. So he, she, it, who follows me shall not walk in darkness. So darkness is ignorance, disease, lack, terrible relationships. I can go on and on and on. Boldness. So it's all those things that we don't want, that we look around us and say, I don't want that, and I'm going to work hard to get rid of it. And it's a physical malaise, it is a spiritual malaise, not a physical malaise. So the answer is a spiritual answer. So it goes on. And it says, I am the Lord, he, she that will not walk in darkness, but he shall find for himself the light of life. So within each of us is the light of life. Okay? Now, who is responsible for turning it on? Jesus didn't say you got it automatically. He didn't say, zap, you got it. Because it's already there. See, that's the premise that we keep forgetting about. We are the ones that are distorting the energy as it comes through and not bringing it through completely. So, but he shall find for himself the light of the world. Jesus Pharisees said to him, you testify concerning yourself, and you testify it is not true. So they're saying you're a liar. Now, we did last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, we talked about you can't throw your pearls before swine. And the pearls before swine, you can't share holy information with people that don't get it. They don't care, they'll laugh. So it isn't, you just can't do it. You have to very quietly do your work. Okay? I always get suspicious about people that talk too much. which is me. Okay? Jesus said the same, even though I testify concerning myself, etc., but he says, I do not judge according to the flesh. You judge searching according to the flesh, but I judge no man. So what is judge? It sounds like criticizing, condemning, complaining, holding standards, saying these are the rules, this is the way it is. You got to do this, you're no good, you're going to hell, etc., etc., etc. And he clearly says, I judge no person. Now, I did change it to today's world when I said person, okay? But you see, and here's the key. I've done a lot of reading the last couple of weeks. I've been working the choice of love, the choose only love, and, et cetera, et cetera. But the ancient wisdom folks, the people that have been at this for years and years and years, you put it from all different spiritual systems, and at the root of it, people that have been there say it's simple, it's easy. Anybody heard it? I mean, you go into a class with somebody that is there, and it's what they say. You're your own enemy. It's simple. What you have to do is give it up. Okay? So we're going to talk about that. And that's why we talk as a group. We are a spiritual group. And we can figure out all kinds of physical things. You see, what's happening is we've got a lot of smart rats. Does everyone know what a smart rat is? A rat is that when you put it in a maze, once you train it how to do the maze, then you put it back in the maze, it knows where to go. So people get so used to using phrases that they use the same phrases over and over again to make themselves feel good and convince you that's they're right. You see, this whole society is set up on proving that you're right, I'm right, and you're wrong. And for me to be happy, I have to prove that you're wrong. We were talking about that earlier. Okay, so you see the setup. And the setup is all there is God. There isn't anything else. So who's right and who's wrong? And how do I know what's right and wrong within the physical world? Okay, so those are the questions of life. So again, we go right back to Jesus saying the kingdom of heaven is within. Everything I'm looking for is within. Getting out of darkness is within. The kingdom of heaven is there already. All I have to do is figure out how to go from this to this. Now, that's my opinion. Good. So, it goes on. And if I should judge, my judgment is true because I am not doing it alone, but I and my Father who sent me are one. See, what he's saying is, I am guided by the kingdom of heaven, the Father within me, and he also said, the Father within me doeth the work. And then he said, these things I do, you shall do also, because you have followed me, and you now are living in the light. So I keep looking at this. So, a luminous being is somebody that has woken up and said, oh, I understand why I'm here and what's going on. Which is where we're going, which is what everybody's attempting to do. Psychologically, whether we know it or not, we're all uncomfortable until we return, what Jesus called returning to the Father. Okay? So all of psychiatry, everything is getting out of the mental health issue and into bliss, B-L-I-S-S. So what's it like to be enlightened? This is the next question. Because I can't know I'm there, or I can't know what it's like until I know what it's like. But would you agree you have no idea what it's like? Now, there are some indications, okay? And somewhere I've got that. And this is really just some reading. Please understand this is my journey. Thank you for sharing it with me. But the idea behind this is, where are we going? And why are we here? Why do we spend time? And it's a daily process of returning to the Father. So I am told, and from reading ancient wisdom from the past, number one, you're already there. In other words, you're a child of God. Now. Okay? So the possibility is within us, each of us. Now, what's interesting is one of the things I was reading is that a lot of people think there's a clear path back to awakening. In other words, I can wake up as a child of God if I do this, this. And that's been part of the religious issues over the years, is they try to make it simple because human beings just show me what to do. Okay? You agree? All I have to do is know the rules and everything's fine. Well, it's not true. That's true because the physical world is different than the spiritual world. And the thing that came back over and over again, number one I've heard, is almost like an accident. It's like you find it on the way there. And all of a sudden, there's all kinds of stories about people that wake up in the middle of a dream, or they, something happens, or you've heard of stories of people go through horrendous trauma, and then coming out of that trauma and learning that they are safe, all of a sudden they go through the awakening process. And if you haven't read something like that, pick up some things. Get involved. Okay? So, you got that? So it's like an accident. And the accident occurs when we're on the way there. So the spiritual journey is important to fulfill all the parts of it, but it's like it's continuing the process, and continuing the process, and continuing the process. And then all of a sudden something happens out of nowhere. Okay? Now, I've also heard over the years, we don't deserve it, but it occurs automatically. And I'm talking about my research into what happens. Okay, number 2. There are no victims. In other words, you're not a victim. There's nobody who does anything to us. Now, Valerie in January is going to be doing this book. Okay? Come on, book. The Eye of the Storm. You heard her talk about it. Matter of fact, we just agreed she's going to do a Sunday service in January, okay, on this book. And then next Sunday she's going to start her class, right? And that's what the 15th.
9 a.m. book study.
9 a.m. book study. But the Eye of the Storm is, there are no victims. Nobody hurt you. Everybody get this? The law of attraction says things happen to me because I created them. So if I believe everything is love and nobody can hurt me, what happens? Well, yet that takes a breakthrough of understanding that I am the divinity in expression and really understanding it. Okay? Everybody take a deep breath. Okay? Now, another indication that I've picked up, everything that happens is a lesson, and we embrace everything and love it. You know, it's interesting. There was I admit to watching TV, okay? And there was a newscast of a lady that had gone through the hurricane in Florida. Older lady, beautiful, beautiful soul. You could just see. Anybody agree when you see somebody, you feel it? It's like yesterday, Matt and I were somewhere. Oh, we were sitting. There was a garage sale in the neighborhood, and she was selling things. And there were a couple came up with a kid, and it was like, yeah, we want to give to them. They're just a beautiful soul. They were. The rest of them, forget it, stay away. Because we are light of the world, and we radiate luminosity of spirit. Okay? But I was watching this newscast, and she said, they asked her, how do you feel about the hurricane? Because her house was gone and everything. She said, I'm really thankful for the lesson that I'm here and all is well. And it was like, wow. Because that's what it's about. Everything that occurs is a lesson, either a lesson I like or a lesson I don't like. And it's something to learn. And I go back and look at it, relationships I had through life. Anybody ever, I'm not going to ask you, but I was terminated from a job twice. Mm-hmm. Did I learn from it? Yeah, it was heartbreaking at the time, though. But then I went on to a better job. And I laughed back. It was a little bit of a gotcha. But, at the time, it was a lesson. Okay? So, the corollary from that is choose only love, because all there is love. So if you understand this, if I'm a child of God, and part of me is learning to bring the energies of spirit through perfectly, then the energy of God is love, right? So if I'm not loving, I'm not bringing the energies through. Does that make sense? Okay? So love is the energy of spirit. We are the transmitters of love. So language, we talk a lot about words. And if you stop and think about it, Jesus said, judge not. So what is judging? Criticism? Complaining? Okay? Anybody else have other words?
Robert, can I ask you, for what reason do I want to trudge through all this for the spiritual path? What's the outcome, the awakening? What is the
That's
outcome?
what I'm trying to share with you. Okay?
What is the awakening for me?
It's knowing who you are.
Okay, so,
That's a great mystery.
okay, so how is my physical world operating from that?
Changes.
How?
It just does. See, everybody wants a reason. Everybody wants to say
Does it
this.
get better? I mean, what happens? Does it get more
See, the
peaceful?
word better implies in the physical. We're talking in spirit. It's a different conversation now. You and I have this conversation quite a bit. And we want to be able to put a mark on the wall and say, I did this. Okay, or we want a trophy, or we want to know. And see, that's the great unknown. Yeah? Now, I can answer to you that the answer is that the spiritual energy, when it comes through, does transform forms. However, that's not my words, that's the ancient wisdom that I'm reading. So I'm careful about you. I'm trying to share things with you where I am and what I'm looking at, not what I know is true, having been there. Yes?
Well, I had a thought when Madeline asked that question, and actually I had a thought as you talked about I'm not loving. If I'm not loving, I'm not bringing God's energy through. You know, these four things that you talked about,
Yeah.
to me, really, where are we engaging? Where are we engaging in the media? Do we get hooked by what someone tells us, or, you know, are we able to, in all circumstances, stay in love?
See, that's the transmission of the energies.
Which then brings us peace.
Yeah.
Which then brings us joy. So when we choose where and how we engage and how we, you know, kind of go around with a
That's all I
gold
wanted
bubble
you to
around
say.
us,
It changes.
our experience
It
of life changes. Yeah.
See, change occurs. That's another thing, characteristics of, let's say, awakened people. They embrace change. Knowing that change is changing for good, because change occurs when I get into that energy.
I think it's really important, and you've talked about this before. What do you read? Who are you hanging out with?
Yeah.
What kind of music you listen to?
What kind of music, what kind of everything. Okay? Frequency impacts us. You know, and everybody familiar, what is it, Beethoven? It actually changes how people interact with information, okay?
So this morning, I was really wound up. I've been wound up all week because we've got this thing that's happening on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm in the office 3 days ago. Greg was like, what are you doing this afternoon? And I listed off like these 10 things. So by the time I got in the car, I physically was stressed out. My stomach hurt. So I listened to a Tibetan chant on the phone on the way over here. And by the time I got here, all of that was gone.
Om Madhu Bhagavad. Om Madhu Bhagavad. See, that's a simple Tibetan chant. Okay. Look at that.
So I
But
looked
it's learning those things and doing them.
Yeah.
See, you can't sit here on Sunday and say, yeah, I did it. Every day. Okay, it's out. I have handed, here I go. I have handed out at least 3 or 4 times Catherine Ponder's affirmations. Okay, now, it doesn't matter what you do with them, but if you're not saying them every day of your life and you're complaining about not having money, what are you doing? Okay? It's a daily process of doing the Father's work. It's also a certain amount, everybody talks about meditation. Well, meditation, the problem with meditation is we really don't know because we have to continue to do it until something happens. But if we don't really do it consistently, nothing happens. But it's like Paul on the way to Damascus, he got hit with a bolt of lightning. Now, we don't get hit with a bolt of lightning, but all of a sudden we go, oh, how about that? And that's my understanding, Madeline, of what happens. Because there is no predetermination. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it will happen because you do this, okay?
Well, I'm not talking about it happening. I just want my life to work better. I want lifestyle, all that.
Do your work.
I think, excuse me, I think what I've also realized is you just have to trust that it's going to work.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
It's trust and faith
yeah.
that really I am a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been sold so heavily that you're not.
Yeah.
Okay? You're not good enough. You've got the wrong color skin. You've got the wrong color hair. You're too fat. You're too thin. You're 80 years old. You're only 20 years old. There's all these issues. And so it's over. It's going into that trusting that what I'm doing is going to pay off.
And I think it's not a one-time thing.
No.
I think we keep expecting it to be a one-time thing,
Yeah.
because that's how we're wired. I mean, we're wired for instant gratification. I think
Yeah.
the biggest place where we miss the mark is we think it's a one-time thing and then we're gonna be fine, rather than realizing it's an ongoing process every day, multiple times a day, over and over. How do we show up?
What else? You're thinking, I can see you.
I'm not going to give you a hard time about this.
I think
You would not believe the conversations we have. No, you would. Yes.
I think I've realized too, like, it's not just the ups. Sometimes you think enlightenment is the ups, the excitement, but you'll have those downs, and all of it is joyful as long as you take it all in and just continue to journey and know that it's not
The ups and downs
Yeah.
aren't there. Just that this is a peaceful
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and everything is nice.
Movement.
Okay? I have written down here another characteristic is freedom and joy. But joy is really, how do you describe it? It's not happiness.
Mhm.
Happiness is a physical thing that we can do. Joy is a knowing that all is well. Okay? Then I got another one here. Easily adapt to change. I said that again, all right? Here's the key. Madam's going to laugh. Years ago, I heard this metaphor, and I use it from time to time. It's like being in jail, okay? And you're in that jail, and you're stuck in a jail cell for 20, 30 years, okay? And all of a sudden, one morning, you wake up, and you reach in your right pocket you've never reached into, and you find the key to the door. And you put the key in the door, and the door opens. And you walk out, nobody says anything to you, and you go into life. Evidently, that's a metaphor of what it's like. Okay? And because we're not there, we get angry, we get upset, nobody cares. Do you understand the victim stories that we make up are what hold some of us back? So it's learning that we're right back, Madeline, to all there is is love. And it's like living a life within that conversation there's nothing to do other than do the work. And then it's like somebody also said, before you become awakened, you have to chop wood and carry water. Okay, and after you become awakened, you do it, chop wood, carry water. It's just how you live life. Okay?
So I think key to this too, asking for guidance.
Yeah.
Knowing that you don't do it alone. And when you talk about silent meditation, like if you've got something that you need, I've heard Bruce talk about this over and over and over. I mean, he lives his life every day asking God how, what, why, where, what's next.
Yeah.
And not just Bruce, lots of people do, but I mean, you and I have had these conversations. But
There's another level there. My understanding is it happens automatically. In other words, Father, what should I do? Bang! It's like before you even think about it. Okay? It's like having an automatic pilot in your brain all the time.
So, Paul had the admonition of pray without ceasing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got so much more, but we're not. Okay. Our energy shift to divinity, and as we radiate God's energy. So we slowly acquire these things as we do the work. And, you know, the question is, we keep shoveling stuff out. Okay, somebody, the key to it is do the work. Spend time in quiet, whatever you have to do. Read something every day. Do the affirmations. Pick an affirmation of something that you want to change, and then do that. The kingdom of heaven is within. It's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Okay, and there's a simple affirmation. Okay, and balancing. Okay, good things happen.
So what are you changing?
What?
What are you changing?
What are you
What are you
changing?
changing?
Yeah.
By doing the affirmations, you're not changing the world, you're changing yourself.
Yeah. The way you, in a way, not changing the world, you're changing you. And you see, the key to it is we got to understand that the world is my experience of what I'm thinking. See, I don't live in your world, I live in my world that I created you. Does that make sense? It's really God experiencing God. Okay? So, yes or no? So I really have a closing question here. Are you ready to start doing the work today? Yes or no? I'm not asking you to tell me. I'm asking you to think about what you're doing, and are you going to play the game, or you're going to get involved and become involved in it? Okay? Tom, is that good enough?
Yeah, that was good. I just, you know, some of that stuff goes right over my head. I don't live that way. You know, I live my life the way it comes upon me.
Yeah. The world wants struggle, folks. Please understand the way to keep things in turmoil is to keep creating struggle. Okay, and what have we got? We've got struggle, we've got contention, we've got polarization, and the only way that ends is peace. Okay, so thank you.
So how would you end it? Maybe on an upper?
She's one of my Cynthia. Madeline, it's the kind of thing that, in my opinion, we have to tell the truth if we're going to talk spiritual things. And I can't sugarcoat it. All I can say is, here's the prize, here's the possibility. Are you willing to do what's necessary? And you can get there. And this is the promise when you read the ancient wisdom stuff, which is everywhere, it's in the Bible, it's, you know, it says you are this. And it's kind of like, it's up to you. It's not up to me. I can share it with you. I'm working on my own crap. Okay? And please don't take on my stuff, but figure your stuff out and start doing something with it through meditation, prayer, affirmations. If you need help, talk to one of the prayer chaplains. They can support you. Now they're dealing with their own stuff. See, we're all in this together, helping each other. Okay? So is that okay?
Let's end it.
Blessings. Okay. Thank you. I'm done. By the way, I always